University of Florida and a past president of the American Academy of Religion. She was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2023. She was educated at the universities of Madras and Bombay in India and at Harvard University. Her fields of interest are the Hindu traditions in India, Cambodia, and America. She's the author or editor of 9 books and numerous articles, chapters in books, and encyclopedia entries. In addition, she is also the associate editor of the 7-volume Brill's Encyclopedia of Hinduism. Let us welcome Dr. Vasudha Narayanan.
Namaste, namaskaram, and good evening. It is an honor, a pleasure, a real privilege to be here, and I'm mindful of the distinct honor of being here in front of Swamiji and all the illumined souls here in front of me. Old friends, new ones, everyone a light within. Thank you for having me here today. It is wonderful to be here in your company. I should begin by telling you a little bit about my ignorance, vast. And in fact, what we have in Tamil is an old saying that what I know is literally 1 grain of sand, maybe, a nanoparticle in a whole universe. Kattradu kaiman alavu, kallaladu ulagalavu. What I have learned is a handful. What I don't know is the entire universe. A word about the program today. I miss my colleagues, Nathan Katz, Professors Nathan Katz and Stephen Hine, who had proposed this topic and who had asked me to join them. And so I was very happy to do it since it was only 1 satsang and 1 workshop. And unfortunately, because of unexpected reasons, they couldn't come in the last minute. So I have all the satsangs and the pleasure of all of you to myself over the next few days and the workshops. So I've given the last 3 weeks to think about how much I had to do. I realized there was so much, and we are here because of light. Life couldn't have started without light. Every field deals with light. We think about light through physics, through astrophysics. Even my grandson talks to me about black holes. And then tells me, oh, let me say it in a way that you would understand, which is pretty humbling. The fields of art, music, everything has light in it. And so I am focusing only on some aspects of the spiritual dimensions of light. And rather than do the topics which the other professors knew so much about, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Buddhism, and so on, I'm pretty much sticking to familiar ground and getting the help of friends to fill in ideas which resonate and which come up with the ideas of the importance of light in our spiritual traditions. So the traditional division of studying in Sanskrit texts is tattva, hita, purushartha. The truth, realities, tattva is the truth, and realities, the same word. The way, hita, and purushartha, the goal. And the first talk that I'm doing today will be divided into these three parts. How light is the supreme being, how light is the path, and how light is the goal. But along with that, I had to plan the other two satsangs. And I realized that within the Hindu tradition, and in many other aspects of life, black and darkness is significant. It's very important. And so tomorrow evening will be devoted to the importance of blackness, of darkness, why it's so significant in our lives. Krishna means black, dark, and so on. Kali, the goddess, is dark. But how do we reconcile the paradoxes? And that is the third, where I hope we can think together on reconciling and transcending the paradoxes. The Supreme Being is beyond light, beyond darkness, beyond dualities, beyond our human category. And so we will go there, which, as in the old Star Trek, they would say, boldly go where no man goes before. And of course, where do we begin? In the very beginning, in Genesis. God creates light. He said, let there be light. And there was light, and he saw that light was good and separated light from darkness. That was the beginning part of this whole series. God called light day and darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning that first day. And every morning when we wake up, we still marvel at that light, especially here when we see the sun rise. And it's a new world within yourself where the sun is rising. But I get a little far. In India, you would never have gotten this far without one story. Better still, two stories. And that's how we transmit the tradition. So I have to start with one story at least. And quite frequently in India, we don't say things, we do things. So let's start with the festival that every child is comfortable with and everyone in India loves, Deepavali, the festival of lights. And why do we celebrate it? Well, my grandmother told me the story, and if my grandmother told me the story, it's true. So the story she told me was that Lord Krishna was told about the demon of hell, Narakasura. And he goes with his wife, Satyabhama, a little detail that everyone forgets, but don't forget it. So the two of them go, and this is a painting from the San Diego Museum. They go and they fight with the demon. And as the dawn breaks, as the light comes up, and the sounds of the war are going, Narakasura, the demon of hell, is killed. And notice it's both Satyabhama, the wife, and Krishna involved in this. Darkness and light involved in this. And they both kill the demon of hell. A festival which was honored by stamps both in Israel and in India. I love these stamps. And they issued it simultaneously to honor the festivals of Hanukkah and so on. Well, if one story is good, two is even better, right? And this idea of the story of transmission is you can plumb it for many, many details and many ideas of wisdom. You understand it one way when you're 5 years old, and when you're 50, you understand it, hopefully, in a different way, or in more ways. Well, the second story, which is actually the most popular story and the one that you find in North India and all over the internet, I didn't even know about till I was quite grown up. And that's because we only know what there is locally. And this story speaks about the Prince Rama, who is exiled for 14 years. And when he comes back after a big epic war in the Ramayana, he comes back with his wife Sita and his brother Lakshmana, and the people of his hometown Ayodhya have lit the entire way for him, bringing them into their hearts. And the light is the path, and the light is Rama, who has reached the people who are also light. And so we have all the stories connected with Deepavali, first day covers, and of course, some of you know about the story of Hanukkah also. So let me start with the primacy of light today. The primacy of light in many religions, primarily Hinduism, but a little bit from others. So the GPS today, I'd like to have everyone an idea of where they're going today, where I'm going. The plan, the outline, is to speak about the Supreme Being as light, the soul as light, the path as light, and the goal as light. And finally, I'm going to end with one small specific example. An example of a 13th century woman who uses the metaphor of light in her commentary on a poem called Thiruvaimuri in Tamil. And her name was Tirukkoneri Dasi. She wrote in the 13th century. And she uses the metaphor of light in every different way she can to speak about how our minds and our hearts and our lives can be illumined. And just because she did it so beautifully then and people never wrote about her, I felt I had to talk about her. Light in Christianity. How many of you know the story of Paul? Yeah, some of you, right? The story goes that Saul was going down on the road to Damascus. He suddenly sees a blinding, illumining light. A light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and the voice said, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" And he says, "Who are you, Lord?" It's awe, it's wonder. And he goes home and he cannot see for 3 days. This light is the light of truth that he has seen according to one tradition. But the primacy of light can be seen in so many others. In the verse that we recite here every night, every evening, we say, Asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. From darkness, lead me to light. And so what do we have equated here? Light with truth, reality on one hand, and immortality on the other. So all that is good. I mean, this is what we see. In a mantra that is recited by many Hindus around the world, the Gayatri mantra, we say, let us meditate on that, on that illumined being, on that supreme being, so it can illumine our minds. Tat savitur varenyam. So let us meditate on that. And this mantra, repeated over and over again, is supposed to be like your armor, like your shield, and it protects you against negative thoughts, against negativity. It arrives, it brings the ideas of the Supreme Being towards you. And who is the Supreme Being? And that's what our life is about. Brahman is light. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and what are the Upanishads? They're philosophical tracts of the sacred books, compositions, that we call Vedas. The philosophical sections, and Brihadaranyaka is one of the largest, most deep and mysterious of the Upanishads. And in that we hear, this is the light of light, Jyotisham Jyotihi. A phrase which packs into those words a zillion different meanings. The light of lights. Beneath that which the year revolves, time revolves around Brahman. Together with its days, that the gods venerate as Jyotisham Jyotihi, the light of light as life immortal. Again, the connection between immortality and light. And this light is evoked as the supreme thought as we go. And why do we have the imagery of light? Why am I showing the ashram? Because light is in the cosmos, light is all around us, but light is here. And as we think, we have the guides who are lights themselves, showing us our way. And here, on Guru Purnima day, or later on the day of Kartikeya Deepam. Kartikeya is a festival that comes in November, December in the Hindu calendar in South India. And in South India, they light lamps everywhere, in every household, like Diwali. And Swami Shambhu is lighting the lamp of devotion and knowledge there. And may I invite Swami Shambhu to come and tell us a little bit about the primacy of light in Judaism. Thank you so much. I couldn't resist the chance to learn about this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be seated on a chair when you're talking there.
Om Namah Shivaya. So, as Vasudha said, in many traditions, the light is the source, the light is the path, the light is the goal. And as Vasudha started with some stories, I will bring a story about the creation and the purpose of the creation and the purpose of us as individual souls and humans within this creation. And this comes from the Jewish mystical tradition. And the story starts with, it's not a story, but to some extent, that the reality is called light. In Hebrew, the word light is or. Can you say or? Or. Now, this or this light was not just any light. And of course, it was not the physical light. It was a spiritual entity, a spiritual light. And this light was not bounded. It was not confined. It had no borders. It was not finite. It was an infinite light. So its name is Or Ein Sof. Ein Sof is no end. So can you say Or Ein Sof?
Or Ein Sof.
Or Ein Sof. So that truth, that reality was beyond time, was beyond space, was beyond anything. Nothing could confine it. And that light, within it was everything. It included everything. And everything could express itself into infinity. But there was one quality that could not express itself, and that is limit. Limit could not express itself within the limitless. So it is said that existence wanted to allow limit to express itself. And therefore it withdrew itself. It withdrew its Or Ein Sof, that infinite light, withdrew itself from a certain portion within himself and created a space where that limitlessness was not. And within it, it created vessels. Those vessels are called in Hebrew kli. Can you say kli? Kli is a vessel, which are the walls. And into these walls, he poured the light in a measured way. Because when you have a vessel, you can pour into it water, but there is a measure to the water. So the light was poured into those vessels in a measured way. But the light itself was of the nature of infinitude. So the vessels could not withstand it, and it was too much for it. So all these vessels, all these walls got shattered. And once they got shattered, the light started to spread all over into infinite numbers of sparks. And of course, the walls themselves, the vessels themselves got shattered. So there was many shatters of those vessels and sparks all over. Now these sparks got covered. Once they got into those shattered parts of the vessels, they got covered. They got as if like covering a peel, a shell, a husk. It's called in Hebrew klipa. Can you say klipa? Klipa. So now you have a reality which is really shattered, in which there are many sparks, infinite numbers of divine sparks of light, but they are all concealed. They are all covered. And now there are also beings. And within each being, there are also, all beings are parts of those shattered vessels. And within each being, there is spark, or some sparks. And now it is our task. Now it is our mission. Now it's our goal and our purpose to start to find the sparks. Now the word for spark in Hebrew is nitzotz. Say nitzotz. Very good. So there are many sparks. The multiple of spark is nitzotzot. Say nitzotzot. Very good. So there are so many of them, but they are hidden. They are covered. Sometimes the covering is very little. You just have to peel an orange, or you have to just open a box and to eat, and you can experience. You can just open the eyes, and some sparks will be available to be experienced. Of course, we have to dig a little deeper to see the divinity behind the experience. But some experiences, the covering is very thin. But in some other occasions, the covering of this husk or this shell is very thick. And you have to work really hard in order to crush this shell in order to allow the spark to appear. Now, of course, we may like to, find the spark and then to take it and enjoy it. And we do it. to some extent, and we try to do it to some extent. But in Judaism, they tell us that if you are doing it selflessly, if you are finding the sparks not for yourself, but you are doing it in a selfless manner in order to give it back to God. Say, oh God, I found a spark. I'm giving it back to you. This is called mitzvah. Say mitzvah. So the mitzvah, when you are doing this in this manner, in this, the mitzvah is from a word called tzavta, which means to connect. By finding those sparks and giving them back to God, you are connecting yourself to God. So you can, find the sparks and then enjoy them, and you have very short-lived, excitement or enjoyment. But if you're doing it for God's sake, and you don't just say for God's sake, but you actually live for God's sake, then you are connecting yourself and connecting the inner spark within yourself to that light infinite, to that Or Ein Sof. And this is what we are doing. And every person has, when he comes to the world, he's on a mission. We don't know it. We forget about it. But when we come to this world, we come with a mission. God sent us to find some sparks, He told us, okay, this is your allotted sparks to find. Go. And we forget all about it, and then we are groping in the darkness. But sometimes, if we are doing the right things, and if we have grace, we may remember, and we may apply ourselves in finding those sparks. And by doing this, we are doing what is called the work of mending the worlds. It's called tikkun. Say tikkun. Tikkun. So we are here to, the worlds were shattered, the vessel was shattered, we are helping in mending the world. And if everybody eventually will do their work and will find the sparks and will return them back to God, this world will be Olam HaTikkun. We'll have Olam Metukan. Right now we are in a little bit of a shattered world, but with our help and effort, selfless effort, we can aid in mending the world. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I apologize for sitting on the chair. Thank you. And light is very important in Islam also. There is a whole surah on light in the Quran. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just check it out for you. The word light is used for knowledge, and ignorance is termed as darkness. That's the important part that I want you to know. And you should know that the word light is mentioned any number of times, 24 times in a definite form, and it's often connected with the word darkness, and it's seen in the opposite way. But in the surah, we hear, Allah is the light of the heavens, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. His light in the universe may be likened to a niche within a lamp. And the lamp is the crystal which shines in the star-like brilliance. And every one of this is a metaphor here. And it is lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree that is neither eastern nor western. We are trying to transcend the different things here. Light upon light, God guides his light whom he wills. God knows everything. And in the meaning, and I'm going to skip through this slide because of this time, they speak about the allegorical meaning, the significance of light, which makes things visible. We're here because of light. You're seeing me because of light. And light itself is manifest But the point they're trying to make in this entire thing is that light, when we speak of it, is in a finite material way, but the Supreme Being is a light that transcends all lights. And so, talking about light, a scholar says, in addition to referring to God, the word light also refers to the prophet, the Quran, the Torah, the moon, and to faithful human beings. So it has a wide range of meanings, and we'll only be touching upon a couple of them today. We need light to see, light to live, and plants need light, and as we'll see tomorrow, darkness to survive, and our food depends on light. And moving right on to the sparks of light within you that Swami Shambhu also spoke about and touched upon, we come across Swami Shivananda's words. Why go anywhere else when it's right here? The light is within you, he says. And this is from Shivananda online and his discourse on light. Be righteous always. These are the sparks of light that Swami Shambhu spoke about. Never deviate from the path of righteousness. Stand upright. Be bold, be fearless. Practice truth. Proclaim it everywhere. March forward in the spiritual path. The light is within you. And that's the Atma, that's the soul, that's the light within you. Like the mind, fix the mind on the Lord. Kill egoism and pride. That's the hard shell that you were talking about, thick. The egoism, that's the hard stuff that you can't get to. It's not thin. You can't peel it away. The fact that your Atma is light is in all the texts. Every guru speaks about it. Back to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where we say the sun, there's a whole long conversation, when this is gone and that is gone, what do we see by? And finally they say, when the sun and the moon have gone, this is towards the end of that conversation. And the fire has gone out, the speech has stopped. Yajnavalkya, what serves as light for man? And the answer is the self, what's inside you. What you see in the darkness is the light. That is the light. That it is through the light of the self that we sit, we go out, we work, we return. That is the self within you. That is the spark. And summarizing the Upanishads, the teaching everywhere, Swami Shivananda says, therefore, live in the soul or the self within. Add Atman to the life here. And then he quotes from the Bible. Seek and you'll find that. Just as light is burning within the hurricane lamp, the hurricane lamp has this shelter around it. It's kind of sheltered completely to protect it from the wind. And so Swami Shivananda says, so too the divine flame is burning from time immemorial in the lamp of your heart. Just meditate on that. Plunge deep into the chambers. Get through those heavy, heavy layers that Swami Shambhu just spoke about. Get through that. Plunge deep and you can get that heart. You can get that light within the heart. The Supreme Being is light, Jyotisham Jyotihi. You are light. And the path of discovery is also light. There's a story told, I can't get away from stories, right? So there's a story told about a very famous poet called Nammarvar. He was born, didn't cry, didn't want to eat, didn't sleep. He's an 8th century poet, 8th to 9th. And it is said that he sat under a tamarind tree and was in meditation. 16 years passed, and suddenly, in northern India, there was another Arvar. And I'll come back to the meaning of the word Arvar soon. Arvar means one who is immersed in God. Deep. Arvar is one who's immersed in God. It's a name given to 12 saints, 11 men and 1 woman. Okay, so it's only 1 woman, but still we have a woman, okay? 12 were poets who lived between the 6th and the 8th, 9th century CE. And they sang mystical poems to God. And the path of these poet saints was bhakti. So one of the poets whom we call Arvar, called Madhura Kavi Arvar, was in northern India. Old man, and according to the caste system, was supposed to be on the highest, a Brahmin, from their viewpoint. Suddenly he sees light. And he follows that light all the way from the northern India to the south, the deep, deep south. And he's following that light, and it comes and stops in front of the young boy, Nammarvar, supposedly a low caste, sitting under a tree and meditating. And the light merges inside him. It reverses all then known hierarchies, old man, old age, suppose the caste system, showing the light can be is with everyone. It's not just for a few. And it merges. To test him, he asks a question. The young boy opens his eyes, answers it, and then breaks out into beautiful poems. 1,112 verses to be exact. And he composes 4 poems, which later on people compare to the 4 Vedas. So the light leads you. There were other Arvars who also used the metaphor of light. In fact, the first 3 Arvars, it is said, one man was standing inside the threshold of a temple, one Arvar. Rainy, stormy night, and the second person comes and says, "Can I come in?" And he says, "Yes." One person was lying down, but you can come. 2 people can sit here. And the 2 are huddling there in the dark, stormy night, when again there's a knock. Who's there? A third person comes. "Can I come in?" And they say, one person could have lied down here, 2 can sit down, 3 can stand. There's enough space. And the 3 are standing, huddling. Suddenly, there's another knock. There's no more space. But suddenly, they feel the effulgence of light. The divine presence is there. And the first Arvar breaks out in song, "Vayyam Tahaliya Varkadale Neyyaha," with the earth as a lamp and the sweeping oceans as the ghee, the sun with its fiery rays as the flame. I have lit the flame of devotion for God. This entire cosmos has become a diya, has become a lamp for God. And the second Arvar says, "No, with my ardor as the love, as the lamp, and my bhakti as the ghee, I have lit the lamp for God." And it is this lamp of devotion that we light every night, the lamp of devotion. And we say the second Arvar says, "With love as the lamp and longing as the ghee, with thoughts that drip bliss as the wick, with a melting heart, I light a lamp of devotion for Narayana, for Vishnu. I who know Tamil." And so there's meaning in every ritual we do here. When we are lighting the lamps here every evening, or in special occasions, What are we doing? We are chipping away at that husk. Bhakti yoga leads, is light, and it leads to liberation. Jnana, wisdom, knowledge leads to devotion. Knowledge is light. So many texts in Hinduism, you know all the texts. They end with the word prakasha, deepa, deepika, light, the lamp on this matter, the light on this matter. Above all, Bhakti yoga is light, Jnana yoga is light, above all, Karma yoga. Who else but Swami Shivananda who said that? Karma yoga prepares the mind for the reception of light and knowledge. It is that you were talking about that selfless knowledge. Selfless, to do any act in the self. Yes, you can pick up that little spark and you can enjoy it. In Buddhism, they say, yes, you can do it and you can be an enlightened person in your own way. But the person who shares that with everyone is the bodhisattva. That's the person who shares it with everyone. And here too, you do that. And when you share that light and you give it back, it is giving back to God. And so Karma Yoga, above all, is light, as Swami Shivananda has said himself. Karma Yoga is an effective sadhana for Chitta Shuddhi, for the purification. And Guru is light. He's also heavy, but if you play with the word light, light can also mean very light, like a feather. But a Guru is heavy, and we'll come back to this talk tomorrow. A Guru, according to a teacher, according to the Baha'i tradition, said the prophet of God has been sent down, and they may illumine the whole world by their words and elucidate the mysteries by the entrance. And they may confer the light of guidance upon the souls. And that's why we have the gurus here, the Swamis, the Chaitanyas, who are showing us the way. They are the light when the night is dark and you're far from home. They're the light who show. And what happens at death? What happens not just at any death, but at liberation? That's the marga, the Archiradi marga that's spoken of. Tagore in Gitanjali in the 20th century said, I'll keep still and wait like the night with a starry vigil, and its head bent low with patience. The morning will surely come, the darkness will vanish, and thy voice will pour down in the golden stream, breaking the sky. When our body breaks, that's what happens. The point of his heart, this is in Brihadaranyaka again, the body of the heart becomes lighted up, and by that light the self departs. So your body is lit up. That is the illumination, and it goes through the eye, and you see the light. The word here for light is the Sanskrit word pradyota. Radiance, lighting, illuminating, splendor. And in moksha, the doer of good, the man of light, the person of light, reaches light. Remember I spoke about Namarva, the young boy who was meditating under a tree? It is said about him when he died, or when he reached God, when he had a union with God, the biography says, inseparable like water sprinkled on a red-hot iron. What happens when you sprinkle water on a red-hot iron? Yep. He attained and became inseparable with the lustrous feet of God, just as the flash of a lightning bolt separates from and joins again the flame of Shatagopan, the flame of this poet, rejoin the original light. At liberation, our light, if you have been good enough to be handing back little sparklers of light to God, you get back too. You find that also in the Zohar, a similar word. The 7 chambers of light, which a mystic perceives during a prayer when the soul passes on and the world ascends high. Final words, 2 or 3 minutes, just 2 minutes more. I'm conscious of time, and that's why I have been hurrying here, because all of you have had very long days. The 13th century woman philosopher, I said, I'll come back to. She's a little known commentator. She commented, same poet, Namarvar. There is a method in my madness. I keep going back to the same saint, Namarvar. He wrote this long poem, and Tirukkoneri Dasiyai, who came 400 or 500 years after him, wrote a commentary. And commenting upon this beautiful mystical poem, she plays with light. She speaks about Vishnu's radiant feet, his glory, which is like the brilliance of 1,000,000 suns. We say that over and over again. Surya Koti, Koti Surya Samaprabha, the radiance of 10 million suns, brightness of the luminous knowledge, and Vishnu as the eternal flame. Since her work summarizes all that we've spoken about today, I felt I should introduce her. And he says, the Lord, the Supreme Being, is a form of overwhelming splendor, Tejo Rupa. Eternal, spectacular flame, and as the Mahabharata says, Vishnu resides in a place thousands of times brighter than the fire and the sun, brighter than the brilliance of 1,000 crores of suns. Elsewhere, she says, he's the flood of luminous knowledge. And Vishnu, who is worshipped by those with no sorrow, is the Aditya, the sun, who illumines the areas of the heavens and the earth. He terminates the darkness of ignorance. Your ignorance is lost by that. And the sun and the wisdom, sun of wisdom and love, the moon and sun of wisdom and love. That's bhakti and jnana. So everything that we're doing here this evening is chipping that away. And I end again with the last line, again going back to the words of Shivananda, which I repeated a few minutes earlier. Your light is within you. Your light is like the lamp in the hurricane lamp, the flame inside the hurricane. Protect it. But when the time comes, let that light diffuse, as you said, let it go back. And this is the light that will illumine not just you, but all of us. In illumining others and serving others, your light becomes bigger and faster and helps us to be in harmony with the universe. And a picture that is still in my mind, which I think about frequently, is an early morning ritual. I'll conclude with this, which I saw several years ago in the ashram, in the ocean. And as the ritual was going on in July, early July, it rained. And soon after the rain came a splendorous rainbow in that sky. And this picture is always in my heart. It is seeing the light and having the gurus show the light. With gratitude for all that you have done and shown us, thank you. And tomorrow, we go beyond the flames to the light and show how we need darkness for the lights to shine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again.
I'd like to thank very much Dr. Vasudha Narayanan. Let's give her a big hand. And she will continue tomorrow. At noon, she will offer a workshop in the Annapurna Devi house on readings in light and darkness. And in the evening satsang, she will present on when light is not always good and darkness is not bad. So this is the title for tomorrow night. Now we'll go over the schedule for tomorrow. Wake up at 5:30. 6, we have morning satsang here in the Shivananda Hall. And I will continue the teachings on sadhana, spiritual practice. At 8, we have a yoga class for all levels on the Bay platform. 9:50 brunch in the dining area. 11, the ashram welcome and history tour for the new guests leaving from reception.